Vice, you dumbass! Start making sense, you rotten book, or you're gonna be sorry. Maybe I'll rip your pages out one by one, or maybe I'll put you in the goddamn furnace. How can someone with such a big smart brain get hypnotized like a little bitch, huh? Oh, Shadow Lord, I love you, Shadow Lord. Come over here and give Vice a big sloppy kiss, Shadow Lord. Now pull your head out of your goddamn ass and start fucking helping us!
NieR? NieR where? I am the funniest person on the planet. So yeah, it's been a good while since I played the first Drakengard game. 2 months in fact. But look, can you blame me? Not only did I have much more important videos in mind, but I think playing Drakengard 1 turned me into the Joker and I have started kicking puppies on the streets. So let's talk about an actual good game for once. Despite not having the same name, NieR is by all means a sequel to the original Drakengard. Yeah, remember that really fucked up ending I talked about that was just supposed to be a silly Evangelion reference? Well, congrats, it's now the canon ending and the foundation for the rest of the franchise! To put it simply, at the end of Ending E, after Kaiman Angelus defeated the Queen Beast, her body began deteriorating, which infected and killed off most of the Earth's population. And honestly, that's pretty relatable. I think Drakengard gave me a couple of diseases too. So in order to ensure humanity's safety, a group of scientists developed a project they would call Project Gestalt. The intention here was that they would remove the soul from the body, and once the disease went away, the souls would be put into new cloned bodies known as replicants. However, this turns out to be a fucking stupid idea, because not only do the souls become these scary-ass creatures known as shades, but the replicants begin gaining a consciousness of their own. Basically, we take control of a dude named NieR, who's just a guy who's trying to save his sister Yona from the Drakengard disease, and he stumbles across a magic book that says he can cure her disease, but only if he's returned the full power. And so we go on a wacky adventure alongside 2 other party members, Kaine and Yoko Taro, in order to save our sister and beat up any evil shades along the way. Also, yeah, we fuck over the entirety of humanity at the end. As we progress through the game, we learn that not only is NieR a replicant, but the original NieR is the King of the Shades, who, similar to you, is also just trying to get his sister back, and in doing so he kidnaps Yona from you, and so we have an epic battle between the 2 NieRs, but ultimately Replicant NieR wins, killing the leader of the Shades, which also makes all the other Shades disappear. But I think the real tragedy is the fact that we basically just killed another NieR, who really didn't do anything wrong. My man just wants his sister. He didn't ask to be fucked over by this disease. But whatever, we won! Woo! While this plot seems a lot simpler than Drakengard's, I think that's for the best. It has way more focus and is way more fleshed out than anything Drakengard had to offer. Not only is the premise itself way more unique, but the characters actually feel like people and not one-note shock factors like the pedophile or the baby eater. And this is likely due to 9/11. Alright, yeah, that was a fucking insane transition, but I am being dead serious when I say 9/11 had an impact on Yoko Taro's writing with this game.
NieRってゲームを作ったんですけれど、その頃には911とかイラク戦争とか経て、どんどん世の中がテロとかの情報がいっぱい日本にも入ってきて、でその時にちょっと考えが変わりまして、人間は自分が正しいと思ってれば狂ってなくても人を殺せるっていうことをちょっとなんか世の中から感じたんですね。でNieRの内容は人は自分が正しいと思ってれば相手を殺せるっていうそういう内容のゲームになって、みんなは全員自分は正しいと思ってる、そういう内容になってます。
That was weirdly deep shit for a dragon puppet to be saying, but yeah, he was pretty much spot on. Unlike in Drakengard, where they're all one-dimensional psychopaths, everyone in NieR...
If you had genitals, I would so chop them off right now.
Yeah, they're still psychopaths, but there's actual meaning behind their actions. But who cares what I have to say anymore? I mean, I can't even remember to include Macros 2 in my series ranking. So instead, I'm gonna have my good pal and seasonal anime watcher azdroidz talk about the characters instead.
So, you want to know about the characters from NieR, eh? Well, me, azdroidz, the man himself, will tell you all about them. First, I'm going to discuss the main character of our story, NieR, or so-called NieR. That's what everyone just calls him. No one actually knows the dude's name. So NieR is just your average shonen protagonist, basically. He's your kind and generous kind of dude who's always trying to do the right thing no matter what. You know, the goody-goody type. And so NieR's whole drive throughout the game is based around his sister. His whole goal is to help cure her black scroll, and in the second act to find her and bring her home. We all think he's some righteous guy, but as the game progresses, we see him lose himself more and more thanks to the Shadow Lord, you know, taking his sister. The dude literally goes through his Joker arc, killing shades constantly, all the time, just out of hatred. In fact, that's one of the only things he cares about other than trying to save his sister. All of this definitely leads to the downfall of our main character. I mean, he literally wanted to, and I quote, grab Popola and strangle her, end quote, because she told NieR that his friends Emil and Kaine couldn't stay in the village. NieR also showed no remorse at all for the villagers that were accidentally killed by Emil. Also, I'm not gonna lie, this guy is one of the most selfish people I've ever seen. I mean, he literally killed all of humanity! He did show some sort of hesitation when he was about to kill the Shadow Lord, but he still ended up going through with it. He is literally referred to as the World Ender in NieR Reincarnation. He knew that if he were to kill the Shadow Lord, he'd end up killing all of humanity. Well, actual humanity, the Gestalt. Something to note is that there were actually two versions of NieR. There's the canon Brother NieR and the westernized, you know, Father Papa NieR. I personally think that the father and daughter story would be more compelling, but I came to enjoy young NieR more than Papa NieR. Alright, now it's time to talk about the floating book Grimoire Weiss. Grimoire Weiss is the book that eventually joined sides with NieR. He's what allows NieR to essentially use magic. Surprisingly, Weiss used to be human. He was born in 2014, years and years before the events of the game. As a child, he was trained to be a soldier, and at age 19, he was put into an experiment. This experiment involved him being put into a room with 13 other soldiers, and them all killing each other so that they could all be absorbed into grimoires. At the end of the game, Weiss ends up sacrificing himself so that NieR could finish off the Shadow Lord. Though Weiss's physical form had vanished, it's said that his consciousness was still there. I would definitely say that in the entire NieR franchise, Emil is one of the most tragic characters in it. I mean, the guy just cannot catch a break. So, Emil, also known as Number 7, was born in 2026. He's known to be a shy young boy, yet someone that actually cares deeply for other people and would do anything to help them, even if it inconvenienced him. He's also technically the only human that survives Project Gestalt, making an appearance in NieR Automata. Emil's parents ended up dying while he was still young, leaving him alone with his older sister Halua, who is also known as Number 6. He and his sister became experimental test subjects so that they could be turned into weapons that could use magic. His sister was turned into the ultimate weapon, however, Emil was only given petrification powers. This was due to the possibility of Halua going berserk, using Emil as a safety measure to stop her. Halua did eventually end up going berserk, but this was only because she was separated from her brother. It was only her brother that kept her from going berserk and killing everyone. Emil was eventually forced to petrify her because of this. So, after that had happened, Emil decided to blindfold his eyes so that he could never petrify anyone again out of fear and guilt for what he had done to his sister. Many years come to pass, and he eventually loses a good chunk of his members because of this. He sometime later comes to meet Kaine and NieR, whom he falls in love with. It's really strange to me how all these people are just falling in love with NieR. Okay, anyways, because of these bonds that he formed with Kaine and NieR, it eventually leads to him becoming more of a brave and outgoing person. Sadly, Emil eventually has to use his petrification on Kaine so that he can save the village NieR lives at. 5 years come to pass, and he and NieR go to the underground lab at Emil's house to find a way to help Kaine. This causes Emil to find his sister and remember his past. He is then bored by his sister. Crazy shit, I know. And then NieR proceeds to beat the living hell out of Emil's sister. And this causes Emil to merge with his sister, gaining a bunch of powers, though he does end up losing his human body because of this. Emil becomes very self-conscious because he's unable to find beauty in his new body. Eventually, though, he's able to save Kaine, and she immediately recognizes him, showing him that he's not some horrendous creature. At one point in the story, Emil fucking obliterates a goddamn village to help save Kaine and NieR from some crazy strong shade named Windy. His ultimate weapon instincts from his sister kicked in. Sadly, our boy Emil dies at the end of the game, sacrificing himself for his friends. He looks back with pride and joy for those times that he had spent with his friends, though deep down inside, he didn't want to die. Psych! This dude doesn't die. He actually survives, but it was kind of blown away, leaving only his head. Alright, now it's time to get into my favorite character in this game, Kaine. Boy, where to start? Okay, so, Kaine is a foul-mouthed girl with a strong attitude who is half human, half shade. She is someone that struggles to show upfront what she is truly feeling. Kaine is someone who was born as what is known as intersex, meaning she's got the cat and the sausage, a Johnson and a lady garden. You know, penis and vagina. Anyways, because of that, the village that she was born in, the Eyrie, shunned her. From this shunning, she decided to wear more feminine clothes as a means of showing and embracing who she truly is. The only person that ever accepted her for who she was and showed her kindness in her childhood was her grandmother. During her childhood, she and her grandmother were attacked by a shade named Hook. Hook ended up killing Kaine's grandmother and mutilating Kaine. After Kaine was left broken figuratively and mentally, a shade named Tyran tried to convince Kaine to fuse with him, and doing so, granting her power and being able to live on with hatred. This is what made Kaine half shade. When they fused, however, Tyran tried to take over her body completely, but Kaine refused for that to happen, so Tyran struck up a deal. As long as Kaine would have hatred in her heart and keep killing things, Tyran would remain dormant in her heart. However, if Kaine were to ever show a moment of any weakness, Tyran would completely take over her body. Kaine eventually came to meet NieR, but tried to push him away and stay distant. However, she did come to like spending time with him and would even develop feelings for him, whether she would admit it or not. Did I ever mention that she can also speak to and understand shades? Yeah, whenever she would slaughter shades with NieR, she understood exactly how they felt or what they said in their last moment. Pretty messed up, I know. At the end of the game, after Emil had sacrificed himself, Kaine confesses her feelings to NieR. However, she does it in such an odd way that you can't actually tell it's a confession to NieR. I mean, she literally beats the fucking shit out of NieR. Yup, that's her confession. I mean, Yoko Taro himself confirmed it was a confession. Alright, it's time for the final and best character that we're going to talk about. And that character is Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is an American rapper, songwriter, and record producer. Since his mainstream debut in 2012 with Good Kid and Mad City, Lamar has been regarded as one of the most influential rappers of his generation. He is widely regarded as one of the greatest rappers of all time.
Wow, that was thought-provoking, especially considering he hasn't actually wrote anything on the script by the time I'm recording this. So yeah, NieR characters are cool and all, but what's also cool is the gameplay. Yeah, I know that's absolutely insane to believe after how horrendous Drakengard was, but NieR's gameplay is actually pretty solid. Don't get me wrong, it's far from the best action RPG out there, but it works well enough and I never wanted to kill myself while playing it, especially in the remaster, NieR Replicant version 1.22474487139. No, Yoko Taro cannot remember that name either. For starters, the movement is not only way smoother, but it is way faster. In Drakengard, I felt like I was walking on molasses half the time, and the sword swings were literally unbearable. But in this game, holy shit dude, NieR is fucking zooming across the field 24/7 and I love it. As for the weapon choices, you have a variety of 3 different weapons, swords, lances, and claymores. They do exactly as you'd expect from these types of games. Swords are the fastest and have moderate damage, claymores are the slowest but hit the hardest, and lances have the longest range and still hit a moderate amount. I personally enjoyed using the lances, but all 3 of them are pretty solid choices. Aside from the refined ground combat, another thing to note about the NieR games is the bullet hell elements built into the combat. You're expected to dodge barrages of projectiles, along with using your grimoire to fire projectiles of your own for gradual chip damage. which, by the way, can I just mention the magic in this game was just scraped from the corpses of Kym and Angelus, which is a little gross and messed up. Overall, the magic is really busted, as not only does it let you hit enemies from anywhere on the stage, but it gives you a lot of other abilities throughout the game, like throwing lances or hitting people with giant fists. And honestly, yeah, this is my main issue with the game's combat. It could be because I played in Replicant on normal mode, but this game's difficulty is absolutely fucking cracked. I swear to God, I don't think I have ever seen the death screen on this game. It is so easy. Like, you get all of these cool abilities, but it doesn't matter. You could just obliterate everything with a singular sword. Now, don't get me wrong, it's never to the extent of Drakengard 1, but this can lead to the game's combat getting pretty repetitive at points. Especially, oh dear fucking god, especially if you're going for all the endings. Yeah, this game keeps up the tradition of having multiple endings, alright. I love this game. I love it with all my heart. The combat is pretty solid, all things considered. The story, top notch. The music, some of the best in a video game. But despite all that, getting each ending of NieR is one of the most mind-numbingly painful things I have ever experienced in a video game. And this is what I like to refer to as a Drakengard moment. Unlike even Drakengard 1, once you unlock a new ending, you can't just skip to it. No. You have to replay the entire post-time skip portion of the game all over again for each individual ending. Except ending E. No. You have to replay pre-time skip for that one. Great! I hope you like this content because you get to play it 4 more times! So yeah, I had to replay post-time skip 4 times. And you actually can reduce this. You can reduce it. If you make a save file before C and D, you can reduce it to 3 replays, which is still fucking hell. But no, I was a dumbass. I forgot to do that. And guess what? I had to do 4 replays. 4 replays of the same fucking segment! Great! And guess what? There's minor changes throughout the routes. And that's cool. I like that. All the changes are actually pretty good. But the amount of pain you have to go through to get there, is it really worth it? Let's just look and we'll talk about the endings for a sec. Ending E is the most simple and straightforward one. NieR saves his sister, Kaine's like, yo, I'm out of here, and everyone's happy. The end. Oh yeah, humanity's still gonna die. Ending B actually happens at the same time as Ending A, except we see it from the original Shade and NieR's perspective. And it had me kind of fucked up for a good while. Like, the dude just wanted his sister. Ending C is actually a continuation of the first 2 endings, and due to you killing the Lord of the Shadows, all of the Shades start dying as well. And hopefully azdroidz mention that Kaine is half Shade, because yeah, she's fucking dying as well. And so the player's given a choice. He either can kill Kaine and end her suffering, or erase yourself from existence to save her. And Ending E is basically what happens if the player chooses to kill her. You fucking dickhead. If you're a Chad, you would have got Ending D, where you have NieR get erased from existence, because let's be honest, he kinda deserves it at this point. So yeah, NieR's erased from existence, and that's it, that's the end. That's how the original NieR game ended. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a little abrupt and a little underwhelming, but thankfully, the Replicant remaster, which I am not reading the full title again, went on to add a new ending that not only gives better closure, but it manages to help connect it further to Automata, which I think is really neat. This ending takes place 3 years after Ending D, and actually not only focuses on, but it lets you play as Kaine, and this was fucking awesome. Although NieR was erased from existence, Kaine still has traces of him in her memories, but she can't quite put her finger on who he is, and she even keeps dreaming of him at night. So she goes to clear her head a bit by killing some shades, But that's when she runs into some dude who's just like, the Forest of Myth, crazy stuff's going on. The Forest of Myth is actually an area we visited earlier, and contrary to its name, it's more so a computer system than an actual forest. And due to it having NieR's data copied, it's here where Kaine not only learns about his existence, but she's on a quest. She is going to fight this forest to get NieR back. Also, Emil's here too. God bless, I fucking love you, Emil. So yeah, after some wacky off-the-wall fighting, the tree uses NieR's data to bring him back, and everyone's happy, the end. Until you realize humanity is still dead, and also the replicants will also die because the disease is still there and it kills them all. Woo! I love happy endings! So yeah, that was basically NieR, and it was way, way better than anything Drakengard ever dreamed to be. And while I still adore Drakengard's questionable presentation and atmosphere, NieR's just a way more beautiful game. The characters are deeper, the gameplay's more fleshed out, and good lordy lord, the music. Don't get me wrong, this is far from a perfect game. I forgot to even mention the side quests because of how terrible they are. Oh my god. Do not play the side quests. There is one that literally drags on for multiple hours on end, and then you get a funny troll ending where you get no rewards. Thank you, Yoko Taro. This was a good joke. You only wasted hours on my day. But regardless of all of its flaws, I adore this game and would highly recommend you pick up the Replicant version, as not only is it a beautiful game with fun combat, awesome characters, and amazing music, but it ensures Yosuke Saito won't have to go back to the van. And sadly, after all this fun I had, I'm going back to Drakengard. See you guys next time. Woohoo!
My name is Mikhail. My name is Mikhail. I really love me some Zero. I'm not a stinky dragon, nor am I a dirty dragon. Hop on my back and let's go for a ride. Yay! It's time for verse 2. My name is Mikhail. My name is Mikhail. I also love me some rotten meat. Give me praise, give me praise, give me praise, give me praise. Tell me I'm the bestest. Hop on my back and let's fly through the sky. Yay!
Hey.
Huh?
There better not be a third verse.
What?
Sing again and I'll kill you.